All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Friday, February 26th. And if you're new here, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my channel. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you end up liking what you see here today, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and join the Brock Page family. I'd love to have you. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some Friday NBA action. Happy Friday to you. The weekend is finally here, and we're going to start with the Rockets taking on the Raptors, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Toronto Raptors are -7 as the official home team. Totals 221 flat. And if you like the Houston Rockets in an upset away from their home court, they're plus 250 on the money line. Now, did you know that we are 3-0 in our last 3 extra daily picks on my Patreon website? That's right, and we're also 12-3 in our last 15 $1.99 daily best plays on that Patreon page as well. We currently have over 1,350 members who are currently signed up and active on that site. And when it comes to this ball game right here, we're looking at a Rockets team who's right in the middle of a 9-game losing streak, just 1-8 against the spread in those 9 losses. Houston's winning just 33% of their road games this season, and they currently rank dead last in offensive three-point percentage. These guys are also in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding. Now they're taking on a Raptors team who won 4 out of their last 6 themselves, and they give up just 107 points per contest at the Amalie Arena. Pascal Siakam's leading the team with over 20 points a game, along with 7.5 rebounds and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Freddie VanVleet is also scoring 20 points a game himself, along with 4.5 boards and 6 assists as well. The Raptors are in the top 5 defensively in points allowed at home. They're also in the top 10 in offensive three-point percentage as well. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Toronto's coming fresh off a game with Miami that flew about 10 points above the posted number for that contest. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Houston get over the line. Meanwhile, the Rockets on the other side of things saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the total themselves. 10-8 to the over when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors -7 and the over 221. Next ball game, Pacers, Celtics, 7:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the Garden. The Boston Celtics are the 3-point favorite. Totals 219. Now, the Celtics are on a 3-game losing streak, just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8. Boston is in the bottom 10 in fourth quarter scoring, bottom 3 defensively in fourth quarter points allowed at home, really struggling to close games out. Now, the Celtics are taking on an Indiana squad who won 3 out of their last 5 themselves, 8-5 straight up on the road this season, 62% against the number in those road games. The Pacers are in the top 5 in defensive field goal percentage on the road, and they're led by Malcolm Brogdon, who's scoring nearly 22 points a night, along with 4 rebounds and 6 assists. Meanwhile, Domantas Sabonis is also scoring 21.5 points a game himself, 11 boards and 5 assists for the 6'11 forward. I do like the Pacers catching a few points here on the road. Give me the Indiana Pacers +3, getting the job done away from their home court in that ball game. All right, next contest I have for you. We're looking at the 8 o'clock slate here. I'm talking about the Jazz versus the Heat, 8 o'clock East. The Utah Jazz are -6.5 on the road. Totals 217, juice to the over. And if you like Miami in an upset at home, they're +210 on the money line. Now the Heat's coming fresh off a game with Toronto that flew about 10 points above the posted total for that contest. We actually just mentioned that a few games ago with our opening game here on the show. They also saw 4 out of their last 6 ball games get over the line. They're taking on a Utah team who saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the total themselves. Now the Jazz are also 5-3 to the over in their last 8. Both teams have scores, they have scores. I like the over 217 in that contest there. Next game, Suns versus the Bulls, 8 p.m. East. The Phoenix Suns are -5.5 in the Windy City. Totals 229, juice to the under. Now, Phoenix is coming off a tough 3-point loss to Charlotte in their last outing. Actually gave up 124 points in that one to the Hornets. And as good and consistent as these guys have been this season, believe it or not, Phoenix currently ranks in the bottom 3 in road offensive rebounding. Now they're taking on a Chicago Bulls team who's currently on a 3-game winning streak, and they successfully covered the point spread in 5 out of their last 6. Certainly a Chicago team who's unpredictable. Sometimes they play really good, sometimes they play really bad. But recently they've been playing pretty solid. The Bulls are actually in the top 5 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage, top 10 in scoring. Zach LaVine is scoring over 28.5 points per night, 5 boards and 5 assists for the shooting guard. Meanwhile, Kobe White is scoring over 15.5 points a night himself, along with 5 boards, 5 assists as well. The Bulls defensively rank in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball, top 5 in home defensive rebounding as well. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Chicago's last 5 stayed under the line. Phoenix is 8-6 to the under when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Chicago Bulls, plus 5.5, and the under 229. Next matchup, Kings versus the Pistons, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Sacramento Kings are the 1-point favorite on the road, totals 224.5. And if you like Detroit in the slightest of upsets at home here, they're plus $1 for some money line cash. And despite a hellacious first half of the season here, the Pistons still find themselves covering 7 out of their last 10 ball games. They're also currently 9-5 against the spread on their home court this season. Not a lot of people know that. And they rank in the top 10 defensively in points allowed at home. So these guys are not completely helpless. The record indicates otherwise, but these guys certainly have the ability to cover a number here. Jeremy Grant, he's scoring over 23 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for the 6'8 forward. Meanwhile, Josh Jackson scoring nearly 14 a night himself, along with 4.5 boards. The Pistons are allowing just 108 points a game on their home court. Now they're taking on an ice-cold Sacramento team who lost their 9th straight last night, and they also went 0-9 against the number in all 9 of those losses. The Kings are now 8 games below 500, and they simply refuse to win on the road. They're just 5-9 straight up when they travel. Now Sacramento's dead last defensively in points allowed, dead last in defensive field goal percentage, and when it comes to the scoring in this one, Sacramento's last 8 straight all got over the number, 9-5 to the over in their road games. Meanwhile, the Pistons are 4-1 to the over in their last 5, hosting the Kings. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Detroit I've said that before. Detroit Pistons. I don't know why I keep wanting to say that, but it's the Detroit Pistons +1 and the over 224.5. And with that, we're going to dive into our next matchup. It is going to be Clippers, Grizzlies, 8 p.m. Eastern start time in Memphis. The LA Clippers are -6.5 on the road, numbers 227. LA's won 6 out of their last 9 ball games, 11-5 straight up on the road this season. LA currently leads the NBA in three-point percentage and foul shooting. Kawhi Leonard is scoring nearly 27 points a night, along with 6 boards and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Paul George is scoring 24 a game himself, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for the shooting guard. The Clips are in the top 3 in defensive rebounding, and they give up just 107 points per contest when they travel. They're taking on a Memphis squad who's got a losing record at home and covers just 43% of their contests at the FedEx Forum. The Grizzlies are in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in defensive three-point percentage at home. Now, Memphis is allowing their opponents to make 42% of their three-pointers at the Forum. And when it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of the Grizzlies' last 4 stayed under the total, 9-7 in the under on their home court. Meanwhile, the Clippers went 4-1 to the under in their last 5 contests themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers -6.5 and the under 227. Next ball game, Hawks, Thunder, 8 o'clock start. The Hawks are the 4-point favorite away from home. Totals 223.5. Now, Atlanta's won 3 out of their last 5 ball games. Top 10 in the association in road scoring. Trae Young is scoring over 27 points a game, along with 4 rebounds and 9.5 assists. Meanwhile, John Collins is also scoring nearly 18 a game himself, along with 7.5 boards as well. They're taking on an OKC team who lost 7 out of their last 10 themselves, and they're also posting a record of just 5-10 straight up on their home court. Now, the Thunder's in the bottom 5 in scoring. They also rank dead last in defensive rebounding. They've successfully covered the point spread in just 5 out of 15 contests at the Chesapeake Energy Arena as well. Now, when it comes to the injury report here, Al Horford and Diallo are both out for OKC here tonight. And when it comes to the total in this one, OKC saw their last 6 straight meetings with Atlanta all get over the line. Meanwhile, the Hawks are 9-1 at the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Hawks -4 and the over 223.5. Next ball game, Blazers, Lakers, 10 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Staples Center. The LA Lakers are -5.5 at home, totals 222. And speaking of the total, the Lakers saw 6 out of their last 10 ball games get over the posted number, 10-6 to the over this season as the official home team. Meanwhile, 5 out of Portland's last 8 got over the total themselves, 10-7 to the over when they travel. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the over 222 in that matchup there. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final contest for the show. It is going to be Hornets versus the Warriors, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Golden State Warriors are -6 at home, numbers 232. Golden State is on a 2-game winning streak, 6-3 straight up in their last 9. The Warriors are in the top 10 in scoring at home, and they currently lead the association in defensive field goal percentage at home as well. They're holding their opponents to just 42% shooting from the field at the Chase Center. Now, Steph Curry, he's currently scoring 30 points a game for Golden State, 5.5 boards and 6 assists for the NBA champ. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins is scoring 17.5 a game himself, 4 boards and a couple assists for the 6'7" forward. The Golden State Warriors are currently 11-6 straight up at home, and they're averaging a rotund 116 points per contest at the Chase Center. Very good at home this year. Certainly a factor that has helped their overall record for the season. Now they're taking on a Charlotte team who's going to have to go to work without Devontae Graham and Caleb Martin. Also, Cody Zeller's listed as questionable for tonight's action as well. The Hornets have been victorious in just 6 of 14 away from home this season, and they're also in the bottom 10 in road offensive rebounding. Now, Charlotte also allows 116 points a game when they travel, and they're letting their opponents make 41% of their three-pointers in that same category. Now, total-wise, 9 out of Charlotte's last 10 meetings with Golden State stayed under the number. The Warriors saw their last 3 outings stay under the line themselves. Golden State is also 70% to the under in their last 10. And they've also gone 10-7 to the under as the official home team. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Golden State Warriors -6 and the under 232. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, powered to you by my Patreon website, where we are 3-0 in our last 3 extra daily picks on that Patreon page. We're also 12-3 in our last 15 $1.99 daily best plays on that Patreon page as well. And with that, I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors -7 over 221. Pacers +3 getting the job done on the road. I like the over 217 in the Utah-Miami game. I also like the Chicago Bulls +5.5 under 229. Pistons +1 over 224.5. Clippers -6.5 under 227. Atlanta Hawks -4 over 223.5. I also like the over 222 in the Blazers-Lakers contest. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the show, one final reminder to please hit that subscribe button right now if you ended up enjoying today's video. Give me the Warriors -6 and the under 232. All right, guys, real quick, one final reminder that all of my content here on YouTube is for entertainment purposes only. I don't make any guarantees of any kind. With that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters. Shout out to Kaya Houston, Lighthouse Ice Bro, Ziggy 007, DJ Wavy, shout out to Danzo, Josh Tickman, Stony Boy, Eric Yarbrough, Waleed Hamad, and last but certainly not least, gotta give a shout out to my man, Mike Ernest from Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey, or as I like to call, God's Country, Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey. Gotta represent there. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. Got to thank you for joining me, right? Actually, weird story today, so I have to tell it. My life, I have the weirdest stuff that happens to me every single day of my life. So we got it started off early here today. I was up early. I was up at about 4 a.m. and, doing my research, posting the Patreon pics, really just grinding it out this morning. And so, 7 o'clock rolls around. The wife and the kid come down to the living room. They're waiting to go to school. My wife's getting ready to drive them. So about 7:10 comes around. They leave and go to the car. And right after they left, probably about 30 seconds after they left, shut the door and left, I heard my gate open and then close. So I thought maybe somebody forgot something and they're coming back in. But nobody ever came back. It was just somebody opened my gate and closed it. So about 15 minutes later, my wife gets back from dropping the kid off from school. She goes, "The weirdest thing I just found in the yard." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" There were 2 textbooks in our yard. So what happened was, I guess, when she left to take the kid to school, another kid who was walking to school by our house threw his textbooks into our yard. I guess he didn't feel like studying that day. But anyway, very weird situation because, when she left the house to go take the kids to school, she saw this kid kind of fidgeting around with his book bag in front of our house. So they walked away, got in the car, and I guess when she drove away, I heard the gate open. I heard somebody in my yard, and I must have ditched the textbooks. Didn't feel like studying today. Or maybe he was just trying to get, our kid in trouble. Hey, this kid stole my textbooks. I don't know, man. Kids are really weird, especially at that age. But anyway, we got 2 brand new textbooks at our house. Called the school, made sure they were aware of it. And I think they're actually calling the kid to the principal's office to ask him if he has the books. We didn't mean to snitch, but, dude, you're messing around in my yard? Ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna mess with my stuff. But anyway, guys, that already happened. That was literally before the sun rose. But anyway, guys, actually the sun was out. The sun's rising a little bit earlier these days. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And have yourself a good one now.